Little girls that love themselves become women that are queens of multidimensional intelligence, creativity, and beauty. So when young Black girls look up the artwork of Black feminists, what are the images and imaginations that braid into their mindsets to expand notions of Black beauty and an aesthetic darkness? What are the faces that appear, the women that are seen? Short film Yellow Fever by Ng'endo Mukii, photography by Tawny Chatmon, lithograph and silkscreen prints by Elizabeth Catlett, paintings by Lina Viktor, song by Nina Simone, and hair sculpture by Letitia Key work to literally and figuratively comb and unravel tangles of the mind governed by institutional structures of gender and race that prescribe the aesthetic value of Daughters of Africa. As a result, the artwork from Black feminists all over the globe encourages young girls to realize beauty in themselves through braided teachings of intergenerational and international love, inspiring that Black is beautiful, in all colors and imaginations, a notion which was coined from the Black Power movement in 1960s America by trailblazers like Elizabeth Catlett and Nina Simone. Indeed, literal images of braiding appear in Ng'endo Mukii's Yellow Fever, created in 2013. Mukii personifies landscapes to the body through photographic superimposition, which works to solidify the imposed notion of beauty placed by artificial borders of colonialism in the backbones of Black women. Yet, as Mukii contrasts this with cascades of Black hair and the braiding of her and her sister's hair, it gives the effect that new roots are being laid down and braided. The idea of new roots also presents itself in Tawny Chatmon's Not Buried But Planted series in 2018. Chatmon uses superimposition in placing blooming flowers in young girls' hair, which presents the duality of roots of the soil and roots of the mind. The image of plowing the land and braiding roots allows the viewer to associate the beauty of the flower to the young girls. The idea of roots of the soil and roots of the mind in relation to braiding also appear in the lithograph entitled Which Way by Elizabeth Catlett, 1973. This black and white piece has three heads whose roots and hair are binded, and it's almost as if there are three angles or perspectives that the viewer can take in stepping into constituting meaning from this being, but neither seem to draw away from the conjoined triplet shared connection and intimacy in the stark vibrancy of the texture in the hair. Ideas of intergenerational love and connection appear as Catlett, in 1973, is already starting to braid and root literal visual figures' mindsets. It's unprecedented to see how that connects to her implicit braiding of mindsets of Black beauty in her silkscreen in 1969 entitled Negros es Bello, or Black is Beautiful. Here Catlett has two Black faces painted in black and white, and this creates huge contrast with the orange circle surrounding them with the repeated emblem of the phrase Black is Beautiful to form the shape of the number 2. Due to the rhythmic nature of the circles, the viewer's gaze is constantly redirected to these figures, which works to focus on an aesthetic darkness behind the imagery of the Black figure, and this notion instills itself in love across generations, roots across generations. Catlett paved and is still paving the way to braid and color new shades and imaginations of the Black aesthetic, which is also seen in paintings by Lina Viktor in 2018. Notions of Black as being the bearer of all light and color are exalted in her presentations of the Black female nude in extremely opaque black. Viktor interlaces and braids the skin of the Black woman by adorning and sacralizing it with gold. Her use of skin pigmentation and blackness alongside gold work to elevate the aesthetic darkness of Daughters of Africa, an interconnected desire that echoes across generations.
And I remember getting a feeling in my body, and I said, that's it, to be young, gifted, and Black, that's all. And sat down at the piano at that moment and made up a tune.
To be young, gifted, and Black.
Indeed, Nina Simone also echoes this transgenerational notion of Black beauty through repetition in her song To Be Young, Gifted, and Black in 1970. Her generational love worked to braid and echo its way through the Martin Luther King generation, as well as Catlett across time to Daughters of Africa today. Daughters of Africa are given roots of the past and present to lay down their notions of beauty and race, and in looking at the artist Letitia Key and her hair sculpture, one can see the ability of pop culture in 2018 today to act as an institutional structure of change, Letitia Key's artwork has her photographs central to the composition and in stark contrast to the background. The viewer's gaze is unconsciously drawn to the hair as Letitia Key literally gives life to it through the various animations she sculpts, bringing to life a new tone and versatility to black hair. Artworks of Daughters of Africa, whether in a gallery or on Instagram, whether from the postmodern era or the contemporary, all work to figuratively and physically braid new, literal and figurative images and imaginations of the aesthetics of black women, much like Mukii, Chatmon, Catlett, Simone, Viktor, and Letitia Key. A notion that is inspired from the soil and seeds planted by past generations for these roots to be grown and braided. These binds or braids of intergenerational love reclaim a sense of connection and interconnectedness across Daughters of Africa, which consequently reinvents and rebraids notions of their cultural and aesthetic value.